Hello everyone, we have to discuss about that questions and interview UPSC guidelines, current affairs. Since Ukraine-Russia conflict is the news along with the United Nations, it is the relevant European Union zone of the influences etc. along with the topics and related to the geopolitics like Quad rules based orders and are issues at the hand and now that can be the frames and as questions the conflict has already orders. The conflicted had laid bears the effects of the sanctions and of the global orders. So the questions and on the new global orders and etc. are the likely to touch on the various dimensions of globalizations as the regard international issues, India G20 presidencies and opportunities, India balancing act with the West Beach, A Beach and East and the especially among the P5s and India disputes with the neighbors and like the China Wolf and various the diplomacy and India advanced in defense defense technology defense technology defense technology and its impact on the East policy and NATO and India strategic autonomy and war the criticism and the rules of the war and with the surface during the interview Quad Indo-Pacific policy and the India related and with China's, Russia's and USA and could be the area of interest and to the interview would in the particulars read in the detail about the recent development between the India and the China and the expectation impact. The best way to prepare for the topics is to read the editorials comments on related issues in good newspapers and formulated your answer questions on social issues. There are a host of the issues and that the relates and to your society, for example nutrient issues in children and women's and the poor's inequalities in online education issue of the mental health of the citizens. Citizens during the pandemic rising and domestic violence during the lockdown and so on. You must the invents and thus the topics and with the comprehension and offer solutions from both your heart and mind. Controversial questions and there are the many sensitives. There are many sensitive issues on which the taking the rights and the stand and may look the difficult to other candidates and without the guidelines my the suggestion here would be not to take an extreme stand on them and you should present both sides of the argument and as said there is a respective merit and present a the middle ground and you should not take other stand and that the surround anti-government and but you are free to point out to the failures and of the government and the suggested better policy measures and some the criticism is always the welcomes and but you need not appears like and the oppositions parties or like other newspaper articles and criticize government vehemently to take on the example on the conventional hijab rule and rather than the opposing or the depending the issues and take the stand that the encapsulates and both the perspectives and that of the legals and the religions then the suggested is the conciliatory and approach to solve the issues and thus by the following above the advice and you can the reasonably and hopes to get the many questions on expected line and with the prior and preparations so that you are not taken by the surprise during your interview. IAS interview vital aspect of the preparation as we see. When it's come to prepare for the IAS personality test and popularly known as the IAS interview, the common questions in the mind of the aspirants and is how to prepare and for it and knowing the little knowledge about the way it is the conducted and the compositions and of the board and with the method of the assessment of performance allocations of marks and probable and probables and areas on the which questions and shall be the raised, and it is the inevitables inevitables and that other candidates who is going to the present himself before the board develops and the an anxiety and fears and the mental blocks and which may the affected his the performance adversely. Getting to know about the details aspected of preparation is thus and the imperative needs. How the interview session is conducted. In its the notification, UPSC clearly mention about the purpose and the manners of the interview, and it is the quite instructive to read the UPSC guidelines. In its the public notification, UPSC it is the notification state that are the candidate and will be the asked questions of the general interest and the object of interview personality test and is to the access the personal schedule stability of the candidates and for other careers in the public service and by the board of the competent and unbiased and observers. The techniques of the interview personality test is not other strict across the cross examinations but of other natures and through the directly and purposive conversations and which is the intended and to the reveal the mental qualities of the candidates. The interview personality test is not the intended and to be the test either of the specialized or the general knowledge of the candidates and which has the already been the tested through their the written papers, and candidates are expected to have the taken an intelligent interest not only in their special subject of the academic study but also in the event and that are the happening around them and both the within and the outside and there the oven stereo country as well as on the modern current of the throw and in news discoveries and which the stood and rose and the curiosity of well educated youth. A close readings of the above instructions and issues by the UPSC remove all doubts and the apprehension about the interview. The major derivations from the UPSC instructions are the interview 6 to the SS whether the candidate is the suitables and for other careers in public service and his the traits of the leadership decisions making capability social cohesion and based the judgment and morals and the intellectual integrity and will the greatly determine determining stability of for the public service. The board consists of the 5 members is other competent and the unwasted groups of the experienced experts which will be solely guided and by the objectives criteria of other candidate merit without any the wise of any the kind, and everyone is treated as the equal before the board irrespectively of his the social economically academic background and the key used by the UPSC's purposing conversations during the interview session by the engaging you in a the conversation. The board will be the encouraged you to the revile your mental qualities and which are the mental alertness and critical power of the assimilations and clears and the logical exploitations balance of the judgings and variety and the depth of the interest and availability of social cohesion and the leadership's intellectuals and moral integrity. Finally, UPSC notifications and make its the imply and clears that the current happening in the state and to which are the candidates and belongs to the nationals and international happenings current development in health trade science and technology etc will be taken by during the conversations and quite naturally and current affairs constitute a the good part of the interview. How the interview began and when you the enter the board. When you enter the board and you will find yourself standing before five senior experienced members. How the interview begins, and when you enter the board and you will find yourself and standing before five senior experienced members sitting opposite you, and of thus and one will be the chairman of the board and who happened and to be one of the members of the UPSC. Quite often the chairman is retired and bureaucrats and from the IS, IPS, IFS or some central services. The remaining four and two the members happen to be from the bureaucrats, and while two are the domain experience, and thus to four members and some of the initiated by the UPSC and to be the parts of the board and the new ones, and you are the asked to make and your chairs and the chairmen and will be the engage and you in other shorts conversations and four five to the savings and the minutes, and mostly the raised questions relating to yours the biodatas and known as the DAF or the details applications forms, and then you Hare Ram. Then he will ask the questions and relating to the economic governance, international issues and etc. And this trend and will the continued on the economic health governance etc. and will be the posted by all the members, and moreover certain as well. Now the questions regarding your choice and for the civil service as other careers, hypothetical questions like how you will act in other giving status, and how will you the tackles and coronas in your the districts if you are the district collectors, and are the bound and to be the raised during the kinds of the conversations there will be the status, and where the members will disappear and with you on your position exploitations, and you must remember it is the part of the interview process, and disagreement is the designed to test your balanced responsible responses. How your performance is assured after you leave the interview and room, and the chairman will give his the comments and on your the performance to others members, and will also the submits their assessment and of yours the performance, keeping in mind and how they have been allocating the marks to the previous candidates, and they will the arrive at the certain allocations of marks to you rather than the judging your performance on various efficiency yardsticks, and they will the judge and you on the basis of the your overall personality projections. A good performance is one in which are the able and to the convenient the board with your crisp and the precise answer and the inspiration, and with them with yours the personality trait. The bad performance is one where you appears unsure about your stand and on and the issues on the contradicted and yourself or lack basic information expected of you, and the averages performance is one wherein you are the found and to be the person of medium calibers and lacking the outstanding qualities and the probable areas of questions, a probable understandings of the kind of the questions and being the asked to the majority of candidates in other past several years make it the easiest to the aspects and what the questions you are the likely to be the asked in your the interview of the course. Not all the areas or questions can be the predict as theirs, and will the always be some unpredictable questions to be the realistics. You should prepare for the predictables and questions and not the unpredictables, and one in any the case as far as the unpredictables questions are the concern even if you are not able to the answer and some of them. It's not going to the impact your interview so long as you are strong enough in the predictable part of the question, and some of the probable questions will be on the following topic. DAF. DAF, you are required to the furnish and your the DF is the variety of the details and regarding your the parents education backgrounds and your job description, if any, the yours hobbies and the extra curriculums activities and choice of the surviving services and the preference and for the grades, and thus yours the DAF attract the member most, and they not only the forms and the opinions about you through your DAF, but also raise the questions on the basis of information furnished by you in it, and be very careful and to furnish those information with the accuracy and honesty, and never commits yourself into anything in DAF and which is the difficult to defend or justifies, and since you have on yours the once provided those the information, you are the supposed to the defend them and consult some knowledge and persons to the formulated your answer on DF. Your state question on your state relating to the its economic and law and orders and issues of the governance and culture history etc, and are the bounds to crop up, and the question brush and up on those, and is governance culture history etc are bound to the crops up the brush up on those issues and from the authentical sources is highly the desirable, and for example if you belongs to Bihar and it is history in terms of the big empires and like the Maurya Empire, both of the Buddhism, Jainism, and maybe the Ashk and Bihar and backwardness and caste rights politics and where the governance will be cited on the same recent issues like the impact of the prohibitable recently passed Bihar's Police Act, and will be the surely be asked and taking other cue from this examples, and you should prepare for your the respective state national issues, your state issues DF, your state national issues. This will be and the important part of the interview conversations, and the COVID related health issues and government challenges and posed by the COVID and measures being the taken other revive the economic and farms bill, and the issue of protect and down gardening of Indian democracy by the international watchdogs rise in the Naxal violence, and the host of others decent issues and will be on the plate. International issues, a lot has the happened and on the international horizontals in the past, say in the last several months, and China related issues and US the elections and JCPOA and the Iran and cyber attacks, and by the China's and Israel's Abraham accords and vaccine diplomacy and role of the WHO during the pandemic, Brexit and its the implications for the UK, EU and India, and Indian foreign policy and its relationships with neighbors, and especially recent disagreement on the LAC between India and the China's ceasefires on the laws between the India and the Pakistan, trade issues with the Pakistan, Indo-Nepal issues, 15 years of the Bangladesh independence, and the devolutions of powers in Sri Lanka's act are going to become to be the sum of the areas on which the questions and will be the raised on should list out several more and such the issues, and the formulated different questions answer on the issues. Conversational questions. Candidates always Candidate always wonder as to the what and the stand and to take on the conversational issues, and for example how to answer questions on the farms laws in which so the conversationals, and or what stand to take on the reservations and politics, and on such the issues either rebellions extremes and types of the stand, and should be the avoid middle path and should be chosen and by adopting the moderate opinions, and you can always the disagree government. With the government stand on an issues and but never sound and politically and opposed or the motivated and because you are supposed to be the neutrals and the unbiased as the civil servant, and the key here is to the make the list of the controversial issues and frame probable questions and articulates and a stand and beforehand so that you don't have to the improvise it during interview while answering questions on the above issues, and you must sound authentic and well informed. You must appear to be in positions of the critical analytic mind and with keen interested on issues of public importance, even if you don't have in the depth now knowledge of the subject. It is the fundamental should be the clear to you. Your optional paper the board will be get to know and about your optional paper from your DAF, and they may or may not test and you or yours the optional paper, but you must and anticipated a few questions and prepare there the question, and usually the questions or optional paper are not the specialized and but other general but of other general natures, and they may want to know and why you have to obtain it and for it it's the application in administration's current development in the subject and if any. Finally, just preparing on the acceptations areas is not the complete preparation for the interview. It is about the projections of your true ethics and real personality. Therefore, try to revise the reals attributed of the good personality during the interview session. Remember, interview sessions is not an extraordinary event, and there will be no the extraordinary acceptations and from you by the board and members, and it is the going to be the just the normal dialogue between you and you the member in a the comfortable atmosphere, and so no need to the act before the board as someone's and which you are not, and present your normal self rather than the trying to the impress the boards and by our projection of your personality. How to approach CSC interview. Arpan Yaduvanshi, IPS. Arpan Yaduvanshi. Civil Service Personality Test, also the popularly known as the interview. As the interview is the final phase in the three stage of the examination and is the most important of all, as the marks in the interview and decided the services of your choice. Interview is the list prepared of all, and but if rightly managed it can be the most regarding experience, and it is the last hurdles and still the quite other significant one, and the marks in this may result in the among the top rank, or the may evict and you out of the race, and no matters how good you have been the performing till now, and marks in the interview have the great bearing on your selections eliminations or it list on your the service allocations purpose of interview and what and the interview board accepts. Civil service interview is more or less like other discussions. The members don't check how much knowledge and you possess or how in the depth and you now thinks and about, and they have already checked the staffs in use the prelims and mains examinations, and they only check your preference of mind and problems handling capability. If you look at the gazette and notification for both CSA and personality tests, and this is what is mentioned. The candidate will be the interview by the board and who will have before them the code of his her and careers. He she will be the asked questions on the matter of the general interest. The objectives of the interview is to the access the personality ability of the candidates for the career in public service by the board of the competent and unbiased observers. observer. The test is the intended and to the judge the mental. Just the mental calibers of other candidates in both the terms, and this is the really in the assessments and of not only his and her intellectual qualities and but also the social traits and his and her the interest in the current affairs. Some of the qualities to be judged are the mental alertness, critical powers of assimilations, clear and logical expositions, balance of judgment and variety and depth of the interest, availability for the social cohesion and leadership, intellectuals and moral integrity. Techniques of the interview is not and that of other strict and cross the examination but other natural throat and directly and purposive conversations in which is the intended and to the revise the mental qualities of the candidates. The interview test is not the extended to be other test either of the specialized or the general knowledge of the candidates and which has been the already tested through their the written papers. Candidates are expected to have taken and the intelligent interested not only in their the special subject of academic study but also in the events in which are the happening and around them both within and the outsides and theirs one state or country as well as in the modern current of the thought and in the new discoveries and which should engross the curiosities of well-educated youth. This might come across and the jargons and the first-time readers and but the frankly it is the pretty and must the sum of the answer to use the questions. Pay special attention to those keywords and that are the italicized and if any the candidate respectively of her the academic graded experience and background is able to the have and this the checklist and done right 200 plus is the highly emphasized. Yes, there might be other factors and of the some looks and the involved too, but it is the better end.